You're listening to the Secure Dad Podcast. Discover ways to secure your home, protect your family, and embrace your role as a protector parent. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the creator of the Secure Dad. This podcast serves to help families become proactive in their safety. The information I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family, because our safety is our own responsibility. Today we're talking about child identity theft. I'll share what it is, how it can hurt your family's financial future, and most importantly, how you can prevent it. All of that and more ahead on the Secure Dad Podcast. You know, I've been a customer of Delete Me for years. One of the things that helped me make my decision was the fact that Delete Me tells you how to opt out of people search sites for free. Yes, they show you how to do it for free. If you go to joindeleteme.com/dad, you'll see at the top DIY opt-out guides. They will walk you through how to get your information removed from sites with no strings attached. So you have the power to remove yourself. But what you'll quickly find is that it takes a lot of work. Then you have to do this for every people search site out there. And no, there is not one uniform way to opt out. And then you have to continue to monitor all of those sites. So not only will Delete Me remove your information from these sites for you, but they will also save you tons of hours of work and stress. Once you know that, signing up just makes sense. I trust Delete Me with my family's privacy. Start today at joindeleteme.com/dad and use promo code DAD to get 20% off today. I'm proud to have Delete Me as a sponsor of this podcast. As protector parents, we are concerned about the safety and well-being of our children. We make sure that when our kids are young, there aren't any choking hazards in their way, and when they're older, we teach them how to drive safely. These are all safety concerns that are in our daily lives. We can see those things, and we can affect them. But an unseen danger that parents often overlook is child identity theft. If you've never thought about this before, I don't blame you. I consider child identity theft to be an unseen danger. I say this because mostly the attack comes from someone online who takes data that isn't anywhere near your child and most likely doesn't know you. So as a parent, how are you even supposed to know that this is a thing? So let me make this clear. If your child has a social security number, they are at risk of identity theft. That means this potential threat starts with all of the paperwork you fill out at the hospital that's associated with your child's birth certificate. Most parents don't ever think about this, and it could ruin your child's financial future, and you may not even know about it for 17 or 18 years. I don't want you to find out there's a problem with your child's credit score when they go to apply for a car loan or apply for financial aid at college, but that's when a lot of people get hit with some really bad news. Our children are a blank slate in a lot of ways. Because there isn't a lot of legal information about a young child on any record, that means that bad guys have a lot of leeway in creating their own fake identity with your child's real information. With your child's ID, a thief can open new lines of credit in your child's name. They could buy things on a credit card, collect unemployment, and even open fake bank accounts. In some cases, thieves have been able to get medical procedures. Also, personally identifiable information can be sold on the dark web, so the thief that takes it may never use it. It may take a few months or a year to sell off, then it could be sold more than once or cause trouble at different times in your child's life. Once that information is compromised, it's out there. At this point, you might wonder if the credit reporting companies catch this type of fraud, and yes, they catch some, but unfortunately it's not as cut and dry as you think. The way it works is that the Social Security number is validated separately from the other personally identifiable information in the process. A scammer could use the identity of a 40-year-old man with the Social Security number of a 12-year-old girl. Now, this may seem counterintuitive, but it's the current process that we got to live with, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So now let's switch gears and talk about how we can protect our children's identities. One of the biggest leaks of a child's personal information is the parents. Yes, it's us. They're protectors. We may inadvertently give away valuable information about our children in person or online. Have you ever seen those cute birth announcement pictures on social media? Some small child grips a letterboard that says Ava Charlotte Riddle, born August 1st, 2023, in Sugar Land, Texas. In one picture, an unsuspecting, proud parent has given away a lot of personal data. In one picture, an unsuspecting yet proud parent has given away a lot of personal data. Their child's legal name, gender, date of birth, and place of birth have been shown to anyone on the internet. That's a lot of information for a seasoned scammer. And to make it worse, thieves can search for the parents' names, addresses, phone numbers, and relatives. This gives them a robust amount of legitimate information. And what's so bad is that at this point, nothing illegal has taken place yet. An identity thief could simply see a social media post, then do a legal search on a site like whitepages.com to find out the rest of the information. It's only when they commit fraud that a crime has occurred. As parents, we must consider what we post online and how it may affect our child's future. And yes, you might be thinking this, joining Delete Me is a great way to protect your family's data from searches like this. Another way your child's identity can be stolen is in a data breach. Some data breaches divulge email addresses or passwords or credit cards, but there was an epic data breach in South Carolina that compromised 6.4 million residents, including children. In 2012, 3.6 million Social Security numbers were exposed, along with other information, in a breach that originated from a phishing attack at a state government office. At the time, it was the largest cyber attack against any state agency in the nation. In response, South Carolina offered residents credit monitoring for 2 years as damage control. But the issue is here, Social Security numbers don't change. If criminals were patient enough to have waited to, say, 2015, they could have tons of children's information just ready to go past that free credit monitoring period. You might be thinking that it seems impossible to protect your child's valuable data, but there are steps that parents can take to shield their children's information. The first thing we have to do to protect our children is take their personal information very seriously. Don't share detailed birth announcements. Don't share big valuable information like that online. Also, keeping your child's Social Security number a secret is vital. While government forms may require it, if you don't have to share it, then don't. It's okay if you ask the daycare service or an online service whether or not the Social Security number is necessary on the form you're filling out. That's completely fine. Then ask if it's okay if you don't provide it on the basis of protecting your child. One of the best, most effective ways to protect your child from identity theft is to freeze their credit. You may think that since your young child does not have a credit score that you don't need to do anything about it, and I get that. Freezing your child's credit essentially locks it until your child is ready to use it. This will keep identity thieves from hurting your child's credit history. My wife and I chose to freeze our son's credit. This process is complicated and involves snail mailing a lot of information to the big 3 credit companies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Generally speaking, in the process, you have to identify who you are, that you are the guardian of the child, you have to provide your government ID, your kid's birth certificate, a few more documents. Then there are some forms that have to be filled out and physically mailed in. And of course, the process is similar but not the same for all 3 companies. Plus, you have to do this process for each of your children. It can be overwhelming, but trust me, it's worth it. I'm not going to go into full details now because it's an exhaustive process. I've actually created for you a free step-by-step guide on how to freeze your child's credit. This is based on what I did successfully to freeze my son's credit. There are links to the information that you'll need and some tips that I learned along the way. I'm happy to share this with you for free, and there's a link for it in the show notes. Now, when your child is ready for their credit to be unfrozen, you'll need to contact, is it unfrozen or thawed? I'm going to say unfrozen. You're going to need to contact the companies again to initiate that process. Then when you complete each freeze, the company will mail you a packet of information on how to open the account again. Keep this information in a safe place, like a safe deposit box or a fireproof safe. It does seem like a lot of work, but consider this. Would you rather do some work now or do a ton later after your child's credit is ruined? It may take years to clear the residual effects from identity thieves. If you discover that your child's information has been stolen, you can report it and close the fraudulent accounts that are associated with it and then freeze your kid's credit. The FTC has a process on how to do this, and they can help you do that. But as you can see, one way or another, freezing the credit of your children is going to be a solution, either for prevention or as an emergency measure when things have gone really, really wrong. Parents need to do their part in keeping their child's social security number and other identifiable information private. Be proactive. Consider freezing your child's credit now so that they can have a strong financial future. Well, that's all that I have for the Secure Dad podcast for today. Thank you, friend, for listening. I hope that I have been able to take this subject and break it down and make it a little bit easier to understand and, of course, empower you to take control of this issue. And part of that is getting your hands on my free guide to freezing your child's credit. Of course, you can get that at the link in today's show notes. It's a PDF that walks you through the process and shares my experience from freezing my son's credit, and I did it successfully on the first try. Take back your privacy and personal data with help from Delete Me. Get 20% off a privacy plan when you use code DAD at checkout. There's a link in today's show notes. From now until August 31st, TrueMe Wireless is offering free phones for new customers. Families can claim up to 4 free phones during this promotion. To get this deal, click on the link in the show notes and use the code MyFreePhone at checkout. It would really help me if you could use the link in the show notes so that TrueMe knows that I shared this great deal with you. If you want to know more about the Secure Dad, join me on Instagram and Twitter/X. My username for both platforms is TheSecureDad. And of course, my site is available to you 24/7 at thesecuredad.com. I'm Andy Murphy, reminding you that our safety is our own responsibility.